Hey, this is Vivie Myrick, and you're listening to Brink Radio.
Another Brink Radio exclusive.
What's happening, everybody? Of course, it's your host, Brink Young, coming straight out of them South Memphis slums, and you are listening to Brink Radio right here on 96.3 FM. Talk about bumping 96.3 because you know Brink put the B in bumping. Look, I mean, listen, we got a real super tremendous guest on the show with us tonight, and this beautiful young lady is coming all the way from New York, but she originally from the M-Town, though. We're talking about Vivie Myrick. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. First and foremost, I got to say thank you for being a guest on the show. It means a lot. Thank you. No doubt. So we got plenty to talk about because she's just not a regular young lady. She's an actress and a singer. Like I told y'all in the introduction, making her way from New York. What you doing all the way in New York City, man? Wow.
Yeah, so I'm acting out there. You know, I've just been studying. I've been auditioning, doing all the things, living the life. It's true that the city does, in fact, never sleep.
Yeah.
I am a part of that.
Look, that city won't sleep. It won't croak. It won't do nothing. It'll throw up and then turn back up. Like, that city is just turned. Like, that's just how they live. Shout out to everybody out there in New York, you know, especially all 5 boroughs, man. Yeah. My people out there in Brooklyn, you know, BK. I would do the BK handshake, but I don't want people down here to think I'm doing the gang signs. It's kind of different. I don't want to, I don't want y'all to think I'm one of them, but shout out to my people out there from BK. So let's talk this trek from Memphis to New York. My goodness, that's a lot of miles. We're talking about a whole different that's a whole different time zone. They're on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. What has it been like for you so far?
It's been great. It's been lovely getting to know all of the different cultures that they have there. There's so many different cultures in one place, which is the big part of why I went there. It's wonderful. It's so fast-paced, which can be nerving at times, but it's been so good for me. It's kept my energy. I've always been go, 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 even here in Memphis, which I feel like to a degree Memphis is like that. We are our own little New York in a way. Everyone here is hardworking. Everyone here is a go-getter. So it was easy to go from Memphis to New York and feel that energy. Yeah. But it was also difficult at times because, I am younger too in New York, and there's not a lot of super young people that move to New York like me unless they're going to school.
Right. Facts.
So that was different too because I was like with a lot of older people that are way older than me, and I moved there at 18, right out of high school. So
18?
I graduated in May, and I moved there in July.
Wow.
And you know what's crazy is I didn't even have an apartment, and I found one on Facebook off of Marketplace. I found one on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, "Yeah, that looks nice. It's got walls, it's got ceilings, It's got a roof. We're fine."
It was so funny, I remember seeing a video on YouTube where you was like, "Wow, this is my room. It's smaller than a closet." You know what I'm saying?
You watched that?
I saw that. I was tripping, but I mean, hey, you got to have those humble beginnings.
My first room there literally fit a twin bed, and that's it.
Wow.
It was awful. Thank God where I live now is not like that because I could not live there. It was miserable. There was so many cockroaches. When I tell you I woke up at 3 a.m. and there was literally a cockroach crawling across my... I yeeted out of the bed so fast you would have thought like it was awful.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
So you had company, basically.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Literally.
We had company from time to time. If you know, you know. Let's go ahead, transition and talk because you said you graduated high school. Now, an interesting thing that you told me off the air about graduating high school, you graduated a class of 100, 200, 9 people.
Yes.
All 9.
Yes, 9 people. It was literally less than 10 people.
Wow.
I know. It's insane.
That's incredible.
It's insane.
Because, when it's time for you guys to have a class reunion, all 9 is more likely to show up because it's not like 50, 80, 100 people.
I think about that literally every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, if we have a class reunion, if everyone doesn't come and it's like 3 people, then that's so embarrassing.
It's funny. Y'all literally can have a group chat right now. And
we do. Yeah. We had a group chat in high school. We were all so close, and it was so awkward, too, because if somebody was like, getting around with somebody else, then everybody knew about it.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knew about everything in high school.
Hey, it's a small
world.
It is. After all, I know what time it is. So let's talk high school. Like, did you do any sports or, were you into acting or singing, choir, what?
Yeah, definitely no sports.
No sport? Wait a minute now.
I could not play sports for the life of me.
No softball?
I did. Heck no.
No volleyball?
Nope.
Track and field?
Nope.
Cheerleading?
I did competitive cheerleading when I was a kid, but not in high school at all. I was not a popular kid in high school.
Okay.
Let me tell you, was not. And so I I put all my energy from when I was a kid, because I went to public school and I was not popular. I was not liked that much. I put all my energy into my craft.
Okay.
Even from a young age. Like, when I was 8, like, my friends were off doing sleepovers. I was like, no, I have an audition tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, that was my vibe from a really young kid. So I was putting every ounce of my energy into, like, I did a short film for my senior year, and that was my project for Indie Memphis. And, you know, it's crazy. I did it's called Imprints. It's on YouTube. It was great. Yeah, so I did a short film. We filmed everything here in Memphis.
Okay.
And I actually I was the first student / 18-year-old, because I was turned 18, which was good, so I could apply into the Adult Film Festival here in Memphis. But I was the first person to be in both.
Wow.
Because my film was in it won the Youth Film Festival, but it was also in the Adult Film Festival as well.
Yeah.
So it was like a really cool, and then I won the Paris, France Film Festival too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a lot of really great, it was a really good film. I'm very proud of that. It was.
You know, it sounds like you've had the eye of the tiger since you were a child. You know, I can remember seeing a video or several videos of you actually singing the national anthem at like Redbirds games. Where are some of the other places that you've sang the national anthem or performed?
I mean, I was performing in Memphis like for a long time. Like, I did the Redbirds. I did like I did lots of like bars around town, and like I did the B-side. I did like a lot of random like outdoor concerts or like, you know, just I was gigging a lot in Memphis when I was younger. I was in a band for a while that it did not have a name. It was like a random put together band in like 9th grade, but we were still performing, and we were like getting out and singing, and like, you know, and I did like lots of theater at this place called Stage Door, which is now not open anymore.
Okay.
Maybe we shouldn't include that name.
Yikes.
But yeah, I did like a lot of theater in town, like when I was younger, and then like, you know, like lots of workshops and stuff like that. So I was always like out and about and performing here in Memphis and in Arkansas all around, you know.
One thing that's incredible that you told me off the air, you said that when it comes to large groups of people, you rarely get nervous. But when it comes to maybe 1, 2 people, maybe family members, close friends.
Yeah.
Tight, tense.
No, that's not
what
for me.
What am I going to do? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm still like that. I did a premiere here a few months, or like a year ago, or back in January. I can't remember when it was. But it was for the show I was on, and it was frightening. Like, and I went to the premiere in LA, and like, this is just an example. Like, I was fine. I was meeting like people from Euphoria, the TV show, in LA, and they were seeing me and coming up to me and saying things about it afterward. And I was like, heck yeah, like I was fine. Like, for Jessica Chastain, Michael Shannon, all those people was fine. Yeah. But when I did this premiere in Memphis and my family and friends were there, I was like, oh heck no. Like, it's just so different, and it's just like, you know, you have a personal connection with these people, so it's like, it just makes it so much more nerving than it is to just be in front of a bunch of random people.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, these random people don't know who you are and who your heart is.
Right.
They don't know you fully. They just see that, like, it's like social media. They see that short clip of you, but they don't know, like, really what you're all about until they get to know you. So that's like, it's just more, you know, it's just nerving.
I understand. You know, like, I can remember my first television appearance watching that with my dad, and I was super nervous, not because I was watching myself on TV for the first time, but my father's criticism, like, had me, like, on edge. Like, I was like, uh-oh.
I know, yeah. And my mom's always been like that, too, because my mom's like a momager to me.
Okay.
So she's like, that's always been nerving, because all I want to do is, like, you know, make her proud.
Yeah.
And so I've always been scared that I'm not going to do, like, good enough, I guess.
Speaking of mom, let's talk about mom for a minute, because you told me off the air that you auditioned for a show that I love, you love, we love, but mom kind of forwarded for you. She kind of, what happened? What? Tell the people the show. Tell them the show first.
Yeah, so it was Stranger Things.
Okay.
Love the show. It's a great show. I mean, I strongly believe that, like, everything works out the way it's supposed to, right? So it's like, you know, maybe it wouldn't have happened anyway, because I was still auditioning. Like, I didn't have the rule booked yet. But anyway, so long story short, I auditioned for 11.
Wow. Major.
Like, back, I mean, that was years ago. I was like maybe 10 or something. I don't even remember when it was, but I was younger. And she just, like, with all respect, I was so nervous about everything when I was younger. I was so paranoid.
Yeah.
I was a very paranoid kid. And, like, I was always so scared of, like, ghosts and stuff. like that. Like, stuff that was just, like, not a real problem to be worried about.
You could have called the Ghostbusters. I mean, come on now.
I mean, I was so nervous about everything. And I was so on my toes all the time. And so when, you know, that show gets, like, pretty scary at some points. And so I remember they came to her and they were like, listen, like, we really, like, we love Vivie's tape or whatever, but we're going to everyone that's auditioning and just asking them, like, how would she feel, like, around, like, dark figures, like, really scary sets, like, things like that, because there's some scary stuff. And my mom was like, well, to be honest, like, she could probably do it, but it would, like, she does get scared around that kind of stuff. But with all of the respect, you know, it is, like, at the time, that show was, like, a really foreign idea.
Correct.
Like, now it's great because there's so much media like that. But, like, at the time, that was a very different show than what we're used to and, like, what media's used to seeing. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, it didn't work out, and that's for a good reason, I think.
It wasn't meant to be. It's all for the best. Another show we're talking about, The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Man, love this show.
Yeah.
What happened?
I'm not going to say much about that because I don't know that I'm allowed to. But, yeah, I mean, I've auditioned for so many shows that are, like, out there. I mean, it's just... You know, being at this age, it's easy to audition for younger and also older. So, like, all the shows with, like, you know, the people that are teenagers, which honestly seems like a lot more than there is. But there's not a whole lot of shows out there with younger people. So, like, all of us that are actors are sort of going for those shows. Yeah. And it's just, like, the usual thing. But then I see things on TV or movies, and I see roles that I know I could have played, and I don't audition. And I'm like, well... That was a shame. I could have played that role. Yeah. I'm like, I could have auditioned for that. There's so much stuff that I see that I'm like, I wish that I could have auditioned for that. Yeah. So that's a frustrating thing.
One show you did book, we're talking about George and Tammy, that was featured on Showtime, correct?
It was, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it was on Showtime Prime. I booked it. So it was a very unique experience, and really, I was very lucky to book this show. I auditioned in high school, and I sent in a tape through my agent, who's a local agent here. Her name's Lisa Lax. Okay. But, yeah, so I submitted a tape, and I heard back, like, it was super quick turnaround, maybe, like, 2 weeks later. I didn't do a callback. It was really strange. It was, like, only 2 scenes. Like, it was not that much that they saw from me. And then I sent in, like, a Dolly Parton recording of me singing. Yeah. I booked the show. 2 weeks later, I was on a reading with Michael Shannon and Jessica Chastain. Wow. You know what's crazy is I didn't know they were going to be on the reading. And when I opened my Zoom call and they were on there, like, you would have thought that I'd seen a ghost. Like, I was like, Mom, I can't. It was so scary because, you know, I'm younger, and it was like, I mean, even now it's scary to anybody because those two people are, like, some of the best actors that there are.
Those are facts, yeah.
And Steve Zahn, and also Walton Goggins, that's on Fallout. Okay. Was on the show with me too. Fallout, yeah. Which is crazy because I didn't even, like, put 2 and 2 together until I saw a photo the other day of him and me on a carpet together. And I was like, that's insane because I just watched the Fallout show. I'm obsessed with that show. It's so good. So it's crazy. I'm like, what the heck? Like, it's just insane. Like, it's all, like, you know, it's such a small world. But it's crazy. I booked it, and then I was, like, literally on a plane. I was actually in a show at Christian Brothers High School. Wow. When I booked it, and I had to, like, kind of drop out of the show the day before opening. It was a huge problem. Like, there was some drama with that because I had to drop. I had to go. Like, I had to be there. I was like, I'm not gonna stay here for a high school show. Like, I have to go. Yeah. I booked this show, so I go and I do, like, the fitting. It was insane. I had this rack of clothes come in. It had my Roll Donna's name on it. Like, I mean, it was unlike anything. It was so crazy. I can't even explain it in words, the feeling that I had when they rolled in all this wardrobe of vintage. I'm walking through this huge warehouse that's, like, the size of, like, a freaking FedEx form of vintage clothing. Yeah. And it's, like, beautiful stuff. And you're just like, and then they bring out all this stuff with your name on it, and you're like, whoa. It's insane. It's just crazy. It was insane. It was a beautiful show. I am so close with the people I did that show with. Like, to this day, I text Jessica and, like, talk to her. And, you know, that's part of the reason I moved to New York was because they really gave me that advice. Right. Because her and Michael Shannon both live in New York. Okay. So it's like I was able to really meet, like, some of the most important people, like, that have really influenced me in my career through that show. And
the most amazing thing about it is to be able to take that one opportunity and make the most of it. I can remember seeing Michael on, I want to say that was Bad Boys 2. And it was a small role, but, like, look at them now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whatever opportunity you get, like, make the most of it.
It's the start. Yeah. I mean, it really is. And it's like, it's just the beginning.
So let's go ahead and transition into the music now. You actually were a part of American Idol. Let's talk about that.
I was. Yeah. I did the show in 2019. Okay. I was 15 years old, which is crazy. Yeah. Like, it's
it
insane.
Don't feel like that long ago.
It does not feel like that long ago, and I was so young. It's actually crazy to think about being 15 and doing American Idol. Yeah. Like, I really shouldn't. I had no business doing that show at that age. It's so like they don't even tell you how. I didn't realize how much goes into the show. Like you show up, like what's crazy is I did the open call in I think it was Alabama, and I did not make it on the show.
Yeah,
and that's what's crazy. And then the week after, I went to Florida and I made it on the show with a producer.
Yeah,
so. You literally can go as many times as you want to these open calls, and it just happened to be that one of the producers I saw loved what I did.
Yeah.
I did Wish You Were Gay by Billie Eilish.
Okay.
And one of my friends here in Memphis accompanied me, and we went. Then there was like, I want to say there was like 12 callbacks.
Wow.
We went to Florida, then we went to I think there was somewhere else, but the biggest audition was in Nashville.
Nashville, right, yeah.
And that was like a ton of callbacks. Like I'm telling the callbacks, but like there's a lot of background story on that show.
Yeah.
And that's more, but they talk about that more than they do anything else.
Right.
Like that's a really big part of it. And then my audition was in Oregon. And that's like where I met the judges.
Okay.
And they were great. Lionel Richie said some things to me that I'll literally never forget. He was like, "You are a performer, a natural performer at heart." And I was like literally crying. Wow. I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much."
That's incredible.
No, he was so, I mean, he was like my favorite judge. I had a very interesting experience with Luke Bryan, but I mean, he was okay. But I was just really young, and I think that was a big thing for them is that I sounded really young, which I mean, I was. Yeah. So it like, I think I could go back now and I think it'd be different. And I have thought about that. I auditioned last year and I got a few callbacks, but I just wasn't right there in the genre that I knew I wanted to be at because the genre is so specific for that show.
Yeah.
And I just didn't really quite know where I would be at that time.
Since we're speaking about genres, like as far as genres, what genre would you most ideally prefer? Like, because I feel like you got an amazing range just from listening to various covers that you have on YouTube. You have an incredible range. What genres do you prefer?
Well, I think I've been sort of pigeonholed in the way into country because I'm like Southern and, I just have that look. But I mean, if I could pick like my dream, it would be like the Yeba type of like, like I love her music. I think she's amazing. Her dad actually taught me piano.
Wow.
She's from the same town as me.
Okay.
So her dad taught me piano growing up, and like, so she was like, I saw her sing at church and stuff. And it's like, I mean, her type of music is, I mean, she has the most unique, beautiful voice. And I think that, like, I have because I'm able to sort of go through the genres, I think I have this, like, world where I could sort of make my own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it could be, like, a little country, a little pop, like a little bit of R&B, and sort of all of that in one, like, realm, which is, like, the goal.
Yeah.
I've been around, like, also because I'm in New York and I'm dating a jazz musician, I've been around a lot of jazz too lately.
Right.
Like one of my goals for this next 2 years is to do a jazz, like R&B mixed with country album.
Okay.
I want to do this album that's really unique to itself, and that's like what the goal is. But I'm really taking my time with that because I've never made an album that I felt that I've created from start to finish, and that's like that's the goal for me is to make something that I've created that I look at that I like feel. You know what I mean? So that's like, for me, it's just whatever I feel at the moment is just really speaks to me.
Yeah.
And I think it really varies for me.
All right. So we did mention New York. So let's talk about maybe some of your favorite tourist attractions in that city. Because when I was in New York, man, I was going all over Times Square. I had to see everything. Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, Times Square is an interesting place. When you live in New York, you do not like it.
Yeah, fact.
But I actually work for a tour bus company. Okay. So that's fun. That's like my everyday job, along with babysitting and teaching. Okay. There's like, when you live there, you do 8 things at once. You have so many jobs. But I work for this like bus that is see-through and you perform for it. So like that's great. And then I also like have done like some other stuff I feel like I'm trying to think of what my favorite one. That's been really fun. Also, The Edge is really cool. Have you seen The Edge? Where it's like this really tall building that has this like glass bottom, and it's really terrifying. I'm very scared of heights. So when I did it, like I was having a literal panic attack.
Wow.
But it's really neat to see like it's all glass, and it's so high above the city. And when you step out, you see like the entire city underneath you.
Wow.
That's cool.
I don't know if I can do that.
And it's like, the memorial is also important to go to.
Definitely,
and that's got the top of the One World has a really cool observatory.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And like there's some really great art museums there. I found that honestly, a lot of times doing stuff that's not as touristy with a few things mixed in.
Right.
But you're able to see like the big culture in all the different neighborhoods. Like if you go to Brooklyn and do something that's specific to there, or you go to like the Bronx and do something that's specific to there, or Heights, you know.
Yeah.
You go to the different boroughs or the different parts of New York and you do something that people there like to do, or like go to their favorite place to eat.
Yeah.
That's really fun, and it's a good way to like feel like you're, you know, getting all different types of cultures at the same time. I like doing stuff like that.
And if all else fails, go to Canal Street, get you a fake Gucci bag. You can get it for about $20. I'm telling you,
I have a
do
few
that.
friends that sell I love to do that.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I do not own a real bag. They're all
I mean, what for? It's 2024. I mean, what we need a real purse for?
No, yeah. I think such way. I'm not spending $3,000 on a bag.
Nah.
I just could not bring myself. But I love doing that with my mom when we come in town. It's our top thing we do.
Yeah.
Immediately.
So let's get into some of these New York stereotypes, you know, because a lot of people listening may have not been there. But let's talk about the rats.
You know what's crazy is I have not seen that many rats.
Really?
That's not at all.
They doing a good job with extermination, sounds
No,
like.
you know what's crazy? It's like everybody says that there's so many rats, but when I moved there, I was like, I don't see any.
She saw
like
5
there's
rats.
a few, but
Yeah.
like it's not like they make it sound.
Right.
And honestly, like I've found myself just looking for them on the subway platform because you know they're there a lot.
Right.
And I swear there just hasn't been that many lately. I don't know what they're doing, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
Or something.
Let's talk about them pigeons, though. Plenty
yeah.
of pigeons.
Yeah,
Pigeons
I don't.
everywhere.
They kind of scare me, to be honest. Like when I'm on the street and I like have food or something, or I'm just like walking down the street on the phone, and then there's like a pack of them. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going around them. I'm like not about all that. The pigeon is. I would rather see a rat than a pigeon. That's a very unpopular opinion.
I mean, they say it's a pigeon is like a rat with wings, pretty much.
And I don't want the thing to have wings because if it flies up, then it can poop on my head.
There you go.
Rats can't fly.
There you go.
There you go.
Let them know. Let them know. So we talking about food. Like, what are some of the items that you like to get? Because there are always hot dog vendors. There are always pizza vendors. You got Philly cheese steaks, like all kind of
So
stuff.
many.
Like, what are you grabbing when you on the go?
My top favorite thing, which now I'm on the keto diet, so I can't have any more.
Okay.
Rip. But my top favorite thing is a chopped cheese from the deli.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. I discovered these about 6 months ago, and when I tell you I went on a bender and had one like literally every other day, it was a serious problem, and they are so good.
Yeah.
It's like it's a cheeseburger in a big bun in a large roll, and it is so good.
Yeah.
My favorite. That, I mean, pizza, can't go wrong.
Never.
I mean, like going to Chinatown and having like dumplings.
Yeah.
Because they really do have some really great cheap options in a lot of the parts. I think the biggest thing is to not eat in Times Square.
Right.
Because they have, you know what's crazy is that they can upcharge by 25% in Times Square. Like even the Starbucks, if you go to Starbucks in Times Square, they'll charge you like $8 for a grande versus somewhere else in the city. So if you're going, do not go to Times Square to eat unless there's somewhere you want to go.
They know them tourists is there, and so they finna bust y'all head. That's what's going on.
They do. I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. So let's get back into the movies. Off camera, we were talking about like the various roles or genres of movies that you would prefer. You know, I know we were talking about comedies, romantic comedies, stuff like that. What are you into?
I think for me, I tend to like veer towards the drama realm because it's just like what I feel that I fit a lot in at this moment. I would really love to get into the comedy.
Yeah.
I just think that was like, it would be something that I would like, I think I would be good at, and something that I would like really love to just venture into. It's honestly because I'm so new to this like whole, I mean, not new to it, but I'm an adult in it.
Yeah.
And that's different than being a kid. That I'm just like, I'm so open to any type of role that there is. Like, I'm not picky when it comes to, I mean, you just like, you can't really be too picky at the start, especially like, I think there's something so great about being able to do everything really well.
Right.
And that's like my goal is to be able to do everything well. Like whether it's comedy, drama, like be well-rounded is so important. And being able to sort of like hit all those beats is really great. And it's just, I mean, that's something that is like a goal for me is to do all of it.
As an actor, like, do you have any like limits? Like, okay, I'm not doing it. You know, like what's over the edge for you?
I'm trying to think. I mean, as of right now, probably not. It's not me saying nothing. That's not a good idea. I mean, it's like full nudity.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, I would do some. It would just depend on like, for me, that's because as a woman too.
Yeah.
That's always something that like, because the truth is that Hollywood does sexualize women sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it's just the way of the world. So I think for me, like a big thing is just like, is if I do it, it's going to be with like,
it's got to be taste. You know what I'm saying?
Tasteful. Yeah. And it's got to be with meaning to like something that really matters to the world. Like why is it important that we're nude?
Right.
Like what is it doing for the audience? What is it telling? What story is it telling? Like there's got to be a reason. Like it's not just some random like
just gratuitous nudity. Just
I mean, and it can be that way. So like I think I have a lot of respect for myself. And also a lot of respect for other women. And so, like, for me, that's something that I'm really passionate about, is sort of changing that narrative.
Yeah.
Because I think that, like, actresses, and actors too, everybody brings so much uniqueness to these roles.
Right.
And so there's so much more than, like, a pair of boobs there's so much more deep inside of an actress that, like, they really have. So I think, that's something that is a big, important thing to me.
Since we're at the edge of the water, let's go ahead and jump in. So, of course, we did mention, about how Hollywood does sexualize actresses from time to time. What's your game plan as far as, like, staying away from the dangers and the pitfalls and the ugliness of it? Because let's be honest, there are a large amount of people who go to Hollywood, go to L.A., age 18, 19, 20, whatever. I'm finna be a big star. And then, of course, they got this famous area called Skid Row of the people who strung out on drugs, didn't make it. You're not going to Hollywood per se, but you're going to New York, another animal. What's your game plan? Because it's dangerous.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a loaded question. It's so complex.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, I've always felt a certain way about, like, it all stems down to, like, your morals and who you are. And for me, like, kindness is always the first thing. No one's going to want to work with you if you're, like, an ass to people. Right. No one wants to work with somebody that's not kind, that's not, happy, that's not positive. Like, your energy and, like, to me, like, when people say, because somebody asked me this today, actually, and they were like, how are you going to stay away from, like, joining the devil or whatever they say about Hollywood. That's the saying.
Yeah.
And I think that it's so important to just, like, stay on what you morally feels right.
Yeah.
And, like, what you, like, be around people that are not like that. Like, because you can, at the end of the day, you can choose who you're around. You can choose what you're doing with your life. And so I think, like, for me, I've always been, like, the type where I just, I come home and do workshops, and I come home and I see my friends in Memphis and my family here, and I, like, might do a show here in the summer or something like that. So, coming home for me and being around the people I love and the really positive people in my life is, like, really the best thing for me and really the best for everybody. It's really what keeps people going a lot of times, if they have that, if they're able to do that, because not everybody is that lucky to have a great family and to be able to come home and be around people that love them. And that's, I understand that. And it's really difficult. But I think for me, like, right now, I'm focusing on being a positive light for myself and being that for others, and helping, like, I'm doing a workshop for, like, people in low income areas and, like, stuff like that that's really helpful to other people. That's, doing good things for the community is really important. Especially if you're such a big name, because you're able to really change that narrative for a lot of people. And if there's no one else to do it if you aren't doing it. Correct. And so I would like to start that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like from now, so we can keep on going.
Hey, you are definitely right. You gotta stay grounded. You gotta never lose sight or never forget what mama and daddy taught you.
And what's right at the end of the day.
Come on now. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it. So, of course, you did mention, teaching as well as doing workshops. Let's talk about these acting workshops that you do. I
started them pretty recently. It's a pretty recent thing for me. I did one at Indie Memphis. It was good. And then I'm doing one now in Kentucky. And for me, it's really important because, especially doing it in smaller towns versus, like, I could do some in New York and I do some acting lessons, but coming back home or going to these smaller towns is extremely important, because these kids and these, like, even older high schoolers, they might have this dream of doing this.
Yeah.
But they have no way of knowing, like, what that looks like. So if you don't have people coming in like me that have done it, that have been through, and that are still going through what that looks like, that's so crucial. And there's no way for them to really learn about what the reality looks like. And, you know, you have these kids going to school and they're like, teachers are like, you have to go to college, you have to do this, you have to do this route. And that's not necessarily true nowadays. Like,
Facts.
The world is different. Like, I didn't go to college. I'm going to a conservatory, but it's not like I'm getting a degree in something.
Right.
Like, I did not take what most people would call like the normal route to the world. You know, like I'm not going the normal way of adulthood in any way, shape, or form. So, like, the big thing for me is like going into these like workshops and these kids like having a really good idea that, like, you know, you can go a different way and you can be like what people call weird outside of what the normal looks like. Like, you cannot go to school and you can go and, like, if that's your route, then that's your route. But, like, everybody has their own specific route. And I think too many people highlight, like, what it should look like.
Right.
And so to me, it's like, it's really talking about that. And it's also talking about, like, I'm trying to really teach, like, a lot of different things instead of just focusing on, like, one thing.
Right.
You know, like, the workshop that I did at Memphis was, like, a lot of, like we did a lot of hands-on, like, action stuff. Like, all the kids got together and they, like, I put them in groups and I was like, I make it a point to separate the friends from each other. So they're with, like, random people. They're meeting people at the same time that are new people to them. And they're, like, acting out these scenes, and then I'll help coach them, like, sort of through the scenes. And it's also just, like, making sure these kids have fun and it's not, like, so strict and so serious, like, because, you know, this craft is so, it's really fun at the end of the day. That's what your goal is. Like, you want to do something you love, but have fun at what you love every day.
I have a lot of actor friends, and I just got to ask you this question. How do you deal with rejection? You know, because the thing about the thing about being an actor is auditioning for roles. Like, everything isn't handed to you. You know, you don't get everything on a silver spoon. So you actually have to go out here and work and grind and try to get a role in a film or a short. How do you deal with rejection?
Oh, that is a loaded question. That is something that I still work with that to this day. I mean, I think that I was, like, bullied a lot in school, so I think I have a hard time with that because I feel like I was rejected a lot in school, like, you know, when I was younger, and I've, like, never been really popular or anything. So I think that, like, it's still difficult.
I can't see it though. It's like, you're a beautiful girl. Like, what is there to bully? Like, wow.
You know what's crazy is it was literally my forehead.
What? Come on.
Not me saying that.
Come on.
I literally would never, if a year ago, I would never even said that. Like, I've been so insecure about that that's really what it was. It's that, and, like,
it's normal.
Well, not to
mine
other
is bigger than yours. I mean, I'm saying.
But we're over here. Look, we're all in this together.
So we showing movies.
Yeah,
that's what we doing.
We have a big mind.
There you go. A lot on our mind.
That's the way I look at it now, because it's not always been that way. And it's like, well, it was that. And, like, you know, I just have, like, a different path from a lot of people around here. So it's like, you know, like, when you're different, everybody calls you weird. And you're, like, really made fun of from that. Yeah. So I think, like, that didn't help with the rejection. Like, because, I mean, really, acting is auditioning.
Facts.
Like, the job is not the actual acting job. The job is you are auditioning. Facts. That's all you're doing. Yeah. Like, a majority of your career. Some people do that for 30 years and they still don't book something. Like, you never know. But for me, I think lately, you know, I got the best advice that I've started doing in the past, like, 2 years. Every time I get an audition, I do the sides, I memorize them, I do whatever, do the audition. I take the sides, I crumple them up, I throw them away immediately. I'm like, you don't exist, bye. As soon as it's over. Because you have to, like, go into I've learned to go into this saying, like, I'm really cool as a person. Yeah. And I bring my own, you know, individuality to these roles and uniqueness. And if they want that and that works for them and everything aligns, then great for both of us. Great for them, great for me. If it doesn't, then it was not meant to be and it's not on my path. Yeah. And I just have to let it go. Because, like, you have to, like, for me, I've had to learn to let it go. It's still so hard to this day. When I really want something, like, when I really wanted, like, The Walking Dead, you know, like, or like an audition like that, that I really want, it's so hard. But, you know, like, a lot of the shows that I'm going for are just, like, you know, some of them are like that, but also some of them are new shows or whatever. So but I'm just really trying to let it go immediately. I think that's what works for me.
I think it makes for an even better success story, you know, or story arc, because my rejection count, man, we talking about big. Like, and when I'm talking about rejection, I mean, like, celebrities, you know, celebrity interviews, like, constantly reaching out to their camp or their PR or their management or record labels and all of that, and just constantly getting no. But I've turned into the guy, well, since you tell me no, I'm going to say, why not? And then when you tell me why not, I'm going to ask, well, what can I do? Can I at least get a drop? Can I get a picture? I need something.
Yeah.
I'm not coming here to leave empty-handed.
Not
the thing that I learned about this industry, you got to be a shark. You just got to be fierce.
Go-getter.
And just go out there and not take no for an answer. Just do what you can do.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How do you feel about improv?
I love improv.
You love improv.
It is my I just recently started. I used to, I'm not even going to lie, I used to hate it. I used to be so scared of it.
Yeah.
I used to be scared of embarrassing myself, and that's the thing. Okay. That's the thing that scared me.
Yeah.
But recently, when I moved to New York, I started taking an improv class, and it is literally one of my favorite things to do now. A month ago, I did an improv class that was a little bit of a harder one because I took an intro. I did a hard one, and it was so strange. We did Jaws the movie entirely from memory. Entirely from memory.
Yeah.
So and what's crazy is I've never seen the Jaws all the way through.
Okay.
I've only seen bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So I went into this class. I was like, oh gosh, I've never seen the film. What am I going to do? And of course, I get casted as the doctor guy. That's the lead role in the movie.
Right.
And meanwhile, everybody else had seen it. I'm I've never seen the film. Shoot. And but I worked my way. Sort of figured it. I mean, it's Jaws. It's not.
So let's say
so fun.
Let's say that Brink and Vivie are roommates, and we both short on the rent. Let's go. So
short on the rent?
We short on the rent, and we only got a couple. Matter of fact, today is the 31st. Rent is due tomorrow on the 1st. What we doing?
The 1st?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So
not my rent actually being due tomorrow.
I know, right? In real life.
Wait,
in real life.
Let me think of a appropriate answer.
Yeah, on the spot. See, this is what we're doing on Brink Radio. She says she like improv. We finna see. We finna find out.
I think it would be. I would probably go on the subway and sing with a guitar.
Okay.
and bring. It would depend because if we're talking New York rent, girl, you better have $3,000 in hand because that's expensive.
Facts. Those are facts.
That's different because New York rent is crazy.
Okay. So we talking about we got an apartment in Memphis. We got an apartment downtown Memphis.
How much are we talking? $900 a month?
About $1,200.
Okay, but I have to be here and do this. Okay, so I can't have the subway and the guitar.
No subway, no guitar.
Shoot.
We got Beale Street though. We
can try to do Beale Street, but I've tried to gig out there before and I've never made any money.
Really?
Yes.
You kidding?
No. I've tried to busk out there, and what's crazy? They're really strict about busking though.
Okay.
You have to have all these stuff, all this all the paperwork and all that mess.
Yeah, license.
I feel like I would. And not me starting to GoFundMe. I'd be like, y'all, I'm broke. Please. I would put my Venmo on my dang car at that point. If I've got a day to get that stuff together, I can't do OnlyFans in a day. That is not appropriate.
I was just finna say,
not appropriate.
I'm doing OnlyFans. I'm showing my feet. Yeah, because there's some weirdos out there that'll pay to see my feet.
Pics.
So yeah, that's
nothing more than that, but that.
Yeah, that's what we doing.
Sorry, Mom.
And then I'm going to Emmy tonight. I'm gonna be at let me see. Nah, the Pony, they ain't gonna have me. I'm gonna have to go to one of these other clubs. Yeah, we go figure it out. We finna get this bag.
Look, he might get double, so I might be okay over here because it sounds like he's getting all the money and I don't need it.
I'm saying though, I'm finna go, man. I'm DJing. I'm doing something. I'm doing something.
I'll sing up there if you DJ. We can do some karaoke tracks or something.
There you go.
We're gonna have to find a wedding up in Memphis and perform at it the night of.
We gonna be the wedding crashers. That's what we gonna do, and then we're gonna have a tip jar out there. Pow.
There you go.
We got rent for tomorrow. That's what we doing. See, when you from Memphis, you figure it out.
Figure that shit out ASAP.
And one thing, they always say about New York: if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. I feel like if you can make it in Memphis, you can make it anywhere.
You can.
Trust me.
You so can.
Yeah.
What's crazy too is I actually drive in New York. This is so unrelated.
Yikes.
I have a car in
you
New
are
York.
Tough.
That's crazy.
You got
People
balls.
Are
you got balls for real. Yeah.
When I say
I've never driven.
It's
in
harder
New York.
to drive here than it is in New York.
You kidding?
I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I think it's harder to drive in Memphis than it is in New York.
Wow.
Because I don't know. I just feel like it's I don't know. I think it's more high speed here. You can't go more than 25 miles per hour there. That's just an example of you literally. That's so true. If you can make it in Memphis, Memphis is the people that are here are going.
Yeah.
They're made for that. It's like a small New York. It really is.
Yeah.
It's really bigger than New York and all. Logistically, it's bigger.
Yeah.
But it really is It's like that. I mean, if you can make it in Memphis, if you can make it in Atlanta, if you can make it in Nashville, then you can make it anywhere. I mean, you can make it even if you're from a small town, as long as you put your mind to it.
I promise. Put that work in, man. Yeah. Keep God first. So
you'll be okay.
Go ahead, let the people know your social media. If you have a website, all of that, let them know how they can stay tuned with you.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram, a TikTok, Snapchat. I have like a public Snapchat, but it's all under just Vivie Myrick.
Okay.
TikTok and my other, like, those kind of platforms are under _Vivie Myrick. But, I mean, my name is sort of like a sort of unique name. It's not a very popular name. So if you look up just Vivie Myrick, then you'll see it.
Definitely find it. So my favorite part of Brink Radio. So we got the people listening. We got the camera right there for, YouTube, TV, blah, blah, blah. So let's say there are some aspiring actors or singers out there. They're thinking about giving up. What advice would you have for them?
My advice would be, first of all, if you have people in your life that are doubting you, or if you feel alone in that way, you have to learn to, you got to drown out all the noise and listen to yourself, because the only thing that it takes in this world to do anything that you want to do, whether it's acting, singing, rap, music, dancing, anything, is yourself and your belief that you can do that. And if you have that belief in yourself and you have the strive and you get up and you go do it, that's all you need. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter who believes in you. All you need is your own belief in yourself that you can do what you love and what you want to do. And that's all you need. And hard work and ethic. And that's it. And be kind. That's the top of my list. Always be a kind person and be sweet to other people around you, because you never know what anybody's going through. You never know how it affects anybody. As long as you're kind and you have a work ethic to do what you want to do, and that's all you need.
I promise. And you never know who might end up a millionaire tomorrow. So you want to treat them right today, because they might give you some money. You never know. I mean, let's be honest, It's incredible. So, I got to say thank you for being a guest on the show. This really means a lot. Like I said, I've been keeping up with you for quite some time now.
Thank you.
And I'm glad we caught each other, because, like I say, you got that tight window. She said, I'm in town. I'm finna roll. I said, please. She said, okay.
I'm excited.
We in
here.
It was
great.
I appreciate you. With that being said, now back to Brink Radio. Don't move.